Alrighty, we are going to get started. It is 4 o'clock. If everyone can hear me, would you mind just putting a yes in the chat so I know I'm good to go for the rest of the presentation? Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, first, I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for our self-care webinar series, Coping Through COVID-19. I can see that everyone is muted. That is great, just to prevent from any distractions in the background. But of course, if at any moment you have questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves temporarily or use the chat box feature. I will be checking that periodically throughout the presentation. Okay, so today's presentation is all about dating during COVID-19. So my name is Marissa Mazer. I am a graduate assistant for student wellness, which is a part of counseling and consultation services. And my pronouns are she, her, and hers. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, on the agenda, we have social wellness. We'll talk about what that is, how we can promote it, and how important it is during COVID-19. We'll also touch upon relationships, what they are, who we can form relationships with. We'll also explore dating and ways to be safe during dating right now. Also explore some ideas on how we can go about dating during this time. We'll also explore sexual health, ways for us to be sexually well during a time of a pandemic. And lastly, go over some resources, of course, to help you guys in navigating this subject. We'll also provide a very helpful link to one of our Mission Wellness articles, which will have all of the links to all of the resources we share with you within this presentation today. So it'll be a really great link for you guys to use at the end here. All right, well, let's explore some learning objectives. By the end of this presentation, students and faculty will be able to define social wellness. Also, to describe ways to stay sexually safe during COVID-19. And lastly, to identify ways to engage in relationships and dating during COVID-19. All right, so the first one we'll be talking about here is social wellness. So I did want to make sure that this presentation included discussion. So feel free to unmute yourselves or type in the chat. I'll be checking that. But what does social wellness mean to you? All right, I'm looking at the chat here. I see Sarah said, making sure I make time for my friends and family. Absolutely. That can be such an important part of our social wellness, because if we're not having that interaction, we're not really making that time for our friends and family, we can feel a little bit not like ourselves. Whereas if we are making sure we're making time for that, we can notice an improvement in our mood. I know for me, once I hang out with friends or family, I can definitely feel very recharged. So thank you, Sarah, for mentioning that. Let's dive in a little bit more into social wellness. So social wellness really is relating to and connecting with others and making time for leisure and recreation with others. So you can really promote your social wellness by demonstrating effective communication. Also, forming supportive social networks. So when we're engaging in our social wellness and we are having that effective communication, we're more able to socially connect with others. And then with the forming of these supportive social networks, that can help us to really buffer some of the effects that we may be feeling with this pandemic, letting us know that, hey, there are people around us and I know that they support me, can feel really good. Also, contributing to the welfare and social justice of the community. Very important right now during the time we're living in. Supporting and interacting with diverse people, and simply connecting with others. So this really entails what social wellness is and how we can promote it as well. And social wellness is especially important during COVID-19 because we may be lacking it. We may not have had that social interaction within the past year as we've had within our lifetime. With quarantine shutting down a lot of places here at the beginning of this pandemic, it was safest to stay inside. We may not have had that interaction with our friends, families, or loved ones. And even now, having to socially distance. Depending on your comfortability level, you may still be in that same position of being at home or perhaps doing everything from home, work, school, the other obligations that you have. So we may still be in this position of not having that social interaction. And it can be kind of difficult to understand how do we promote that during this time. But really the bulk of this presentation will dive into ideas for you guys and resources for you guys to help navigate and explore that. And lastly, social wellness is really important because not only does it help us promote our wellness, but you feel really recharged. It can help you to feel better. And there are ways to promote your wellness even during this pandemic, which we will explore throughout this presentation. All right, so kind of asking the group here, what have you guys been doing to promote your social wellness during this time? Any specific things that you've been engaging in or that have helped you to stay well socially during this pandemic? Feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Okay, I'm seeing some great responses here. Jalen said, I Skype with my friends and call my family more. Absolutely. Skype can be a great resource, as well as Zoom, Microsoft Teams like we're on now, even FaceTime and Facebook Messenger. Yes, Skyping with my friends. I see FaceTime calls with friends. Yes, Sarah said Animal Crossing with my friends. Oh my gosh, that's a really great one too, because I feel like people wouldn't think of playing games together online as another resource. So yeah, that's a good one. Okay, I Skype with my best friends while we do homework. Oh, that's a great one. So it's kind of like you're having a study session, but you're not necessarily right next to each other. And then we have online games with friends. Yes, these are all really, really great things to promote your social wellness. And I'm really happy to hear that some of you have already been doing things to engage in this. And I do hope that this presentation will even give you more ideas than you've already been doing now. So, all right, social wellness. Moving on to relationships. So now we're going to dive into kind of like what is a relationship and who do we have relationships with? So can anyone tell me, how would you define what a relationship is? Yes, a connection with someone, people who have a connection. Exactly. You guys are right on it. We really just define it as a connection between people. So let's explore, who do we have relationships with? Well, a variety of people. You could have relationships with significant others, friends, family, really your loved ones, parents, siblings, grandparents. Also, we may have professional relationships with our coworkers, bosses, supervisors, maybe even with our roommates and teammates here at NIU. Lastly, you may also have relationships with professors, some instructors, perhaps even a relationship with your counselor or classmates. And lastly, we've got community advisors and church members. You may have relationships with more people with more people than we have listed, but this is really to just spark your awareness that there's many different people that we can have relationships with and many people that we can connect with during this time of COVID to form that social support. Now, it's important to remember that these relationships can provide social support for us during COVID-19 because really social supports buffer the effects of stress. So, some things that we'd like you guys to just consider and start thinking about are who are the biggest supporters in your life? Maybe that's your friends, your roommates, your CAs, and then start to think, how often do you connect with them? Is it kind of a daily thing, maybe bi-weekly, or maybe it's a monthly check-in? I know me and my friends from the program I'm currently in, we decided to start doing a monthly video chat. So I'm really excited to start doing that with them. And for us, monthly just seems to work better with our schedules. Lastly, what is the best way you connect with your supports? So is it a virtual thing? Is that what everyone is most comfortable with? Maybe you're a little bit more comfortable being in person as long as you're socially distanced. Or maybe it's even just writing a simple letter or sending a quick text to someone that you love. So just kind of start to think about who are those people you have relationships with, who are the biggest supporters, and then how often and what is the best way to connect with them. All right, moving on. So connecting with our supportive relationships. It is an investment of our time and energy. Yes, you are busy, but remember, this is an investment. Although we have lots of things going on in our life, whether that be school, work, any other obligations we might have, it can be easy to just kind of be in our own bubble or not make any effort outside of that. But you have to remember that it does take an investment of time and energy. And it's really important to be spending time with friends and family so you can be a better significant other as well. So just some kind of tips to help with investing that time and energy. Try setting aside time each week to connect with your supports. So again, maybe that's just, okay, I know I have some free time on my Friday afternoons. I know that's a time that I can reach out to my family members and just check in with them and let them know I'm thinking about them. The next one is send a text every other day to loved ones. So that can be kind of a daily thing, an every other day thing, whatever works for you. Even writing letters or connecting on social media can also be a great platform to be able to do that, or even just to check in and see what everyone's up to. You could also meet with a close friend once a month, kind of like what me and my friends are doing, or try a new activity to meet new friends. So maybe that means engaging on or with outdoor adventures, for example. I know they have had some outdoor or at least socially distanced activities. So maybe you're just trying something new to meet new friends and have that social interaction. So kind of just see what works for you and see if that helps you to connect with those supportive relationships. Alrighty. So now we're going to dive into dating. And I gotta say that it may be difficult to date during this pandemic, but we're here to provide ideas to help navigate this difficult time. And depending on your comfortability level, there are many ways to date or even spend time with loved ones. So it can kind of be catered. But I wanted to share this graphic with you all, how to date during a pandemic. So I'll start with the first one on the right here. Ask your partner about their pandemic precautions. So how do we go about doing this? Well, some questions that we could ask our partner are, do you wear a mask? Kind of just starting off sweet, simple, just to kind of gauge where they're at with their precautions during this pandemic. Also, are you comfortable meeting in person? Maybe you guys are on the same page about that. Maybe you're not. Another question could be, how have you been staying safe? What have you been doing? You know, kind of just gauging where their comfortability level is at. And if your answers don't align, well, maybe it's not a good match. It's important to be putting your safety first, but most importantly, trust your gut. If something's telling you, I'm not sure if we're clicking here, we have different views or different ideas on kind of how to be cautionary during this pandemic, then make sure that you're putting your safety of the utmost importance, because really that's what it all comes down to. Another tip could be making it clear on your profile. So maybe you have a dating profile and in your bio you could put only meeting online or ready to meet in real life. That could kind of just clear a lot of things right off bat, like, hey, this is where I'm at during this pandemic and this is what I'm comfortable with, letting people know right away where you stand. So the second one here on the left, if you can, start out with a virtual date. This really is your safest option. It really provides an opportunity to take your time getting to know them and really just like focus more on what's important. So that being the conversation, getting to know the person, and finding out if you want to see them again. It's nice because it's not like you're distracted by any safety concerns and you're in the comfort of your own home. So if you're nervous, this could help ease those concerns. I know for me, if I'm ever meeting someone for the first time, it's kind of nerve-wracking. So kind of just starting off with a virtual date can help ease those nerves you may feel. And again, just kind of feel out where they're at and how to approach, dating during this pandemic. So. Alrighty. Also, you're able to leave or end the conversation easier than if you were in person, so that's kind of a bonus as well. The next one is check local transmission rates if you are meeting up in person. So for local rates, you can definitely check the Illinois Department of Public Health or your county health department, so the DeKalb County Health Department. It's important to really just stay up to date on health and safety precautions. So continuing to wear an appropriate mask, maintaining that 6 feet of distance between you and another person, avoiding large crowds, washing your hands, and listening and following credible sources such as the CDC, the WHO, World Health Organization, and health departments, of course. If you plan on getting intimate, get tested to make sure you're negative for COVID-19. So talk to your partner about getting tested before deciding to be intimate. This includes kissing or getting physically close. You might ask why though, and really that's just because COVID is most commonly transmitted through respiratory droplets. So respiratory droplets are the ones that are produced when you cough or sneeze, talk, or breathe, and sometimes through airborne transmission where the droplets kind of linger in the air for minutes to hours. So this all means that you're at a greater risk of getting COVID by being intimate. So it's important to check with your local health department for testing sites nearby. Yeah, I see there's a comment here from Julie. If they have a problem with you asking them to get tested, they're not the one. Yes, that can kind of tell you right off the bat and let you know right from the beginning, okay, I'm not sure if this is going to work out for us. So thank you for mentioning that, Julie. All right. So that last point of getting intimate and making sure you're getting tested really is a good segue into sexual health. So just as it is important to test yourself for COVID-19, it's also just important to be testing yourself regularly for STIs, sexually transmitted infections. And also, healthy relationships include communication. So communicate with your partner about getting tested for COVID and STIs prior to the first encounter or sexual encounter. Lastly, practice safer sex. Let's dive into what practicing safer sex looks like. Safer sex is practicing one or more behaviors that will reduce your risk of contracting an STI or becoming pregnant. So we use the term safer sex instead of safe sex, since every sexual contact involves some form of risk. So some safer sex options include using a condom, whether that be external or internal, a dental dam, which is essentially the same material as a condom, but it's more in a rectangular shape to be used for oral sex. There's also lube to prevent any friction from occurring, or you can choose not to have sex, so abstinence is always an option as well. And lastly, very important, communicate with your partner about getting tested for STIs. There are safer sex supplies at NIU Health Services, and it is free to us as students. So you can actually go right through the health services door, I'm sure after getting a screening to see if you're healthy and well to enter. But right off to your left of the waiting room, there is a condom counter where you can go and choose the supplies that you do need. So that is a free service to us as students. Definitely a great resource to have. Now, as we're talking about sexual health, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, can you get COVID from having sex? Well, all close contact, within 6 feet with an infected person can expose you to the virus, whether you're engaged in sexual activity or not. So coming into contact with a person's spit through kissing or other sexual activities could expose you to the virus. Although there is further research needed to really determine if the virus could be transmitted sexually through fluids, so semen or vaginal fluids, it can spread through respiratory droplets, as we spoke of earlier. And you could come into contact with those during a sexual activity. So, if you are sexually active with someone outside of your household, consider these precautions to reduce your risk of getting the COVID-19 virus. So the first one is minimize the number of sexual partners you have. Next one, avoid partners who have symptoms of COVID-19. So kind of just checking in with them beforehand. Are you showing any symptoms? How are you feeling? Try to avoid kissing. Using condoms, and dental dams during oral and anal sex. Wear a mask during sexual activity. Wash your hands and shower before and after sexual activity. Wash sex toys before and after using them if you are deciding to engage in masturbation just alone with yourself. And lastly, use soap or alcohol wipes to clean the area where you have had sexual activity. And all of these tips were provided by the Mayo Clinic. So now we're going to dive into dating ideas. And before we kind of dive into that, we want to have the discussion. What are some ideas to date or spend time with loved ones virtually and safely in person? So maybe if you guys have already been doing stuff that you feel is safe, please feel free to share that in the comments or temporarily unmute yourself. More Animal Crossing, absolutely. That is a great one. I see Netflix Party. Yeah, we'll actually be talking about Netflix Party in this presentation. That's a great, great resource and something that I find very fun. All right. I see some people are typing. Oh, here we go. When it was warmer, you could go on a walk or a bike ride together with masks. Absolutely. We'll also be talking about outdoor activities and some things that maybe you love doing but can be done outdoors as well. So let's dive into those. So what you really need to know about social activities, all provided by the CDC. In general, the more closely you interact with others and the longer that interaction, the higher the risk of the COVID-19 spread. So if you do decide to engage in public activities, Continue to protect yourself by practicing everyday preventative actions. That means, wearing your mask, staying 6 feet apart, etc. Make sure to keep these items on hand when venturing out. So a mask, tissues, and a hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol if possible. But lastly, understand the potential risk of going out. There we go. So let's explore some virtual ideas. We've got the Jackbox Game Night. That is a website that you can use to host like virtual game nights, and the participants don't have to be right next to you. They can be at home. You could do a virtual picnic or meal together. Even if it's not nice outside, you can just have dinner together in the comfort of your own home. Netflix party, as mentioned in the comments. Great place to go to watch Netflix together with someone. It won't, it'll always be at like the same time. You won't be too far ahead of someone and someone will be behind you. You can do it at the exact same time together. Another similar website is Watch Together and Facebook Messenger. So Watch Together is the same thing. You can pick out something to watch and it's always going to be at the same time. But Facebook Messenger has this really cool feature now where you can be on a video call with someone and you can actually like watch the same videos together, and that'll appear in your like video chat. So I did that recently with some friends and that was really cool. Also, you could do a virtual paint night, whether that's just picking a painting out from the internet and doing it together, or you could follow a tutorial on YouTube. We will post a link for that as well, but there are plenty of free painting tutorials on YouTube. And also tours. You can do virtual tours of museums, state parks, national parks, art galleries, monuments, and my favorite, Disney rides. Those have been really fun, just kind of like having that visualization of pretending to be at Disney World. Even though we're not at Disney World, it's still pretty fun to do so. Some more virtual ideas. We've got a bake-off, cook-off, chop challenge. Maybe that's just doing the chop challenge with whatever you have at home, or just baking with someone virtually. You can do a dinner delivery roulette, so ordering the other person dinner and FaceTiming each other their reaction, or just, kind of seeing how they respond to it. You could watch a Broadway musical online together. Of course, watching live streams of concerts has been a big one for me. Listening to podcasts or reading books. You could be active together, do some workouts together, or chat via these platforms. So I know I mentioned this a little earlier, but there are a lot of different platforms in which we can use to video chat or, just have an audio call. All right. So now we're going to move into, let me go back. There we go. The in-person. So if you do decide to do any of these ideas that I've mentioned thus far in person, or to spend time with someone in person, it's really important to remember to follow the CDC guidelines. So how can we protect ourselves when we go out? Well, the first thing the CDC recommends is staying home if you are sick. So if you're showing any symptoms of COVID-19, best if you just stay home and not spread anything. Wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth. That will really help to protect yourself and others. Staying 6 feet apart from others who don't live with you. Avoiding crowds. Avoiding poorly ventilated indoor spaces. And lastly, washing your hands often with soap and water. If you don't have soap and water, then use hand sanitizer if it's not available. Yes, I'm seeing in the comments here, these are great ideas for those who may even be in long distance relationships due to relocation because of COVID. Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of us may be in these positions of having a long distance relationship whether that's because of distance or because of COVID. So yes, these can provide a lot of new fun things for you guys to do. That's not maybe the same old that you've been doing. So thank you. All right, now we're at the outdoor activities. Although I gotta say, it can be kind of hard to imagine being outdoors right now as it is snowing a lot here in DeKalb, but spring is coming. We know that it's a couple months away. We know it's gonna start getting nice out. Um, so, have some hope. It will get better. But if you want to spend time with people who don't live with you, outdoors really is the safer choice. You're less likely to be exposed to COVID-19 during outdoor activities, even without the use of masks, when you stay 6 feet apart from others who don't live with you and limit your time around others. So the CDC really recommends just participate in outdoor activities as much as you can. And like I said, even though it's hard to imagine being outdoors right now, maybe we're not a wintertime person, there are some fun activities you could still do outdoors. Of course, making sure that we bundle up and are not risking ourselves getting sick or anything like that. All right, so let's explore some safer outdoor activities. So for exercise, we can run, walk, or bike at your neighborhood park. Lots of fun parks here in DeKalb that you can go to, even some fun little trails nearby as well. Oh, there we go, hike on local trails. Take your dog for a walk around the neighborhood. Participate in an outdoor yoga class, and working in the garden maybe. So I know I mentioned Outdoor Adventures earlier, but they're a great person to connect with on campus, who host a lot of outdoor activities that are right up all these different points. In terms of restaurants, you may be really missing that feeling of going to a restaurant and being indoors and just having that restaurant experience. But some ways around that are to pick up curbside meals, try getting food delivered, and eat outside at a restaurant where the tables are at least 6 feet apart. So some restaurants have been increasing their outdoor dining or maybe even having like heated areas outdoors. So if you are really wanting that kind of opportunity to have that restaurant experience, try these ones first and see how you like them. Now, if you're visiting or hosting people who don't live with you, maybe having a picnic at the local park, so that is outdoors. You could have a fun kickball game in a friend's backyard. Roasting marshmallows by a fire pit. Yes, did a lot of that during the fall season. And lastly, having an outdoor barbecue. These can all be safer outdoor activities to engage in during this time. For entertainment, go to a drive-in. There is the McHenry Drive-In. I know there's some in Chicago that are actually running right now and that are not off-season. Listen to an outdoor concert from your car. They have had drive-in concerts throughout the past year. I went to one personally, and it was very socially distanced, very safe, or safer, I should say. And I felt pretty comfortable doing that. Create your own outdoor movie party. Yes. Maybe you have like a projector or a DVD player and movie you could bring outside. I've seen some of my friends doing like an air mattress outside and just having like an outdoor movie party that way. So these are just some ideas to help you start thinking about ways that you can hang out with people and be socially well, perhaps date or whatever you want to do, but also making sure that you are being safe while doing it. So we've got some resources for you guys. Of course, we are a resource for you, student wellness. We have our mission wellness articles that have articles on a bunch of different health topics. This one right here is the link to the virtual dating ideas, and the links to be able to do those as well are embedded in it. I will share the link to this article in the chat in just a moment. But You can also use us as a resource to request presentations. So we present on a variety of health topics. Feel free to email us at bewell@niu.edu if you have any questions or want to learn more on how we can help you. Some other resources: counseling and consultation services, NIU Health Services, and of course, NIU Recreation. All right, so as you know, we have this Coping Through COVID-19 Self-Care webinar series every other Monday at 4 p.m. 2 weeks from now, we will be taking a little bit of a break, as that is NEDAW Week, National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. So we will resume March 8th with Mental Health 101. If you are passionate about health and wellness, or maybe you want to join our team or do kind of some of the things that we do, presentations, virtual events, you can become a certified peer health educator. So if you're interested in learning more about wellness, you're passionate about it, you want to help others be well, please come to our initial meeting Friday, March 5th at 2 p.m. You can go ahead and email us again at the bewell@niu.edu for more information and for registering. Also, we have our paint night, very, very popular event coming up on this Wednesday, February 10th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. This is a guided painting experience to help you de-stress. You can grab whatever supplies you may have, so it doesn't have to be paint. You could do markers, colored pencils, crayons, oil pastels people have used in the past. Bring what you have, and it is a free event. All you have to do is register. It does say by February 5th, but we have spots available. So please email us if you are interested in signing up, and then we can give you the link to join on Wednesday. All right, so here we have our survey. If you guys wouldn't mind taking this very quick survey, it really just lets us know how we're doing, how we can improve. I'll go ahead and leave this link in the chat, but there is the QR code to scan as well. Lastly, I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us and learning about kind of social wellness and dating through COVID-19. Again, my name is Marissa Mazer. Feel free to email us for anything we've mentioned today, or if you had any questions. And there is the link to our website if you were interested in requesting us for a presentation or just learning more. So I'm going to go ahead and escape so I can put the link in the chat for you guys and see if there are any questions. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Yes, thank you guys so much. No problem at all. I did post the link to the Qualtrics form, the survey for us, and as well as the link to our Mission Wellness article, which has all the resources from today's presentation. So thank you all so much and have a great rest of your day.
Great job, Marissa.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to download the data, and then I'll end the meeting here in a second. But you're such a good presenting voice.
What was the last thing you said after data?
Oh, I blocked the recording. You have such a good presenting voice.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Sometimes I get in the zone.
You get in the zone most of the time from what I've seen you do this stuff.
Touche, touche. Sorry if there was a little bit of background noise. Andrew came in during the middle of it.
Rude.
I know, I'm like, rude. Stay outside, Nicole.
That's mean.
I know, I wouldn't do that.
Oh my gosh. But good luck with your groups tonight. I'm sure you're ready to go head off to that. But I'll go ahead
Yes.
and click the end meeting button here in a second.
Perfect. And then you're doing the data for like the attendance report.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
downloaded it now, so that's all
Okay,
good.
perfect.
Now I'll put it in the thing, you know.
Okay, sounds good. Just wanted to make sure I didn't have to do anything.
I got you, fam. All
All
right, well, I
right.
will see you later.
Okay, thank you for everything, for all your help. I appreciate it.
Of course. See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.